Bed. Love.
Bed.
Bed.
Love.
Beyond.
Beyond.
Bed, love, beyond. Bed, love, beyond.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Bed Love Beyond, the show where we try to find like-minded people who are lost in limbo and love. I am one of your hosts, Martini.
I'm Jennifer.
Yeah, and coming up on the show, we're going to be talking about the great show called You're the Worst. And we're going to be talking about how we can't seem to get away from things that hurt us the most. And also, we're going to be talking about... what are we going to be talking about? We're going to be talking about...
A bunch of good stuff. Don't worry.
Yeah, a bunch of good stuff. So just
We'll get
listen
to
in,
it.
all right? Just listening, all right? Trying to rush me. All right. Anyway, so if you haven't heard, there's a show called You're the Worst on FXX. Okay.
2 X's.
Yes. So it's on FXX. So check your local cable provider, or if you're just streaming it, try to find it. Yeah, Hulu.com. We're not sponsored by them, but hey, if you find us, what's good? But anyway, yeah, and the show is pretty much about trying to find your way in between your mid-20s to mid-30s, because I know everybody usually gets definitely gets lost in that decade. Pretty much, it's kind of like a second puberty, if you will, and this show kind of encapsulates what that time period is. And I vaguely knew something about it, but Jennifer was the one who introduced me to it, and I was like, okay, let's see what it is, because she's been on it since day one, I believe, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
So yeah, so she's been on it since day one, and then I knew the second season was starting soon. I mean, it's currently on right now, but before the second season started, I was like, okay, let me see if I can, binge watch it, because it was only like 10 episodes.
10
right?
episodes the first season, yeah.
Yeah, 10 episodes, and also it's a half-hour show, so it was easily consumable for binge watching. So like I did it, and I was just like, I couldn't get enough of it. I was like, oh my god, this show is like amazing. All the characters are great, and I like shows that attempt to recreate life, like life imitating art, or art imitating life, and this really captures it. It doesn't try to sugarcoat anything. Not that other shows that do that are bad, but I really like how with the situations that the characters present themselves in, they portray it in a very realistic manner, and it's funny. The show really takes you into places that you never thought you'd want to go into, and sometimes you see something that's very relatable, and you're like, ooh, that was me like 2 years ago. So it's a very interesting show. How do you feel about the show, Jen?
I love it. Like when I first watched it, at the time when I was watching it, I was in a serious relationship, and it didn't so much relate to that relationship as much as like it related to past relationships. Like, it's like, you're dating like this pessimistic type person, and you guys are both kind of like haters and hate everything, and it's like team hate. We're together, but we hate everything. And I don't know, just like I watched it and I was like, oh man, this is so like 5 years ago. And I was just like really, really into it. And I don't know, it's like, as like you said, every episode you watch, you're like, this is great, and it's funny, and like there's other things that are in it that may not be relatable to you, but like there are things that you like think about. Like for instance, there's like an episode where the couple like exchange like a key, and it's like, what does the key mean? Does it mean we're like a couple? Does it mean I can come over whenever I want? And like, does it mean I can put my stuff in his house? Or and it's just like stuff you actually think about, like, oh, here's a key, and then you're like, does this mean it's official?
Yeah, and then the guy gets all weird. He's like, oh, no, like, no, it's just the key, like, that's it. It's nothing serious. Or like where one of the characters is the female lead where she's moving into a place. She's moving into the boyfriend's place, but it's not her place. It's her boyfriend's place. So she wants to make it more into her own. So the guy's like, all right, fine, just go shopping or whatever. And she's at a loss because she's been on her own, but she can't formulate anything that she wants because she doesn't know who she is.
Right.
You know, so she's like, do I want this lamp? Or like, ooh, like she thinks being an adult is having like a Keurig.
Right. And like I think that's the thing, when you're living single, you live very like minimalist. You're like, I don't really need dishes. Like these plastic dishes from Target do me just well. And then when you like move in as a couple, you're kind of like, well, maybe we should like upgrade to like actual like, you know, glass dishes.
Yeah, or just doing adult things. And,
Right.
and it's so funny because like near the end of the episode, you see her at the cash register, and it's like she was like a parent going to back to school because like the cart was like
Filled.
completely filled, like to the brim, like over the brim, you know, just filled with stuff. And she's like, yeah, I guess I'll take this. And then she like freaked out, and then like she just like ran out the store, and because she couldn't take it because she doesn't know how to adult. And it's weird. Well, no, it's not weird. It's very relatable because yeah, even though we are adults, like me personally, I'm 35, but I still feel like I'm in my mid 20s or something like that. I have adult responsibilities, but I don't necessarily feel like an adult because I don't know what an adult is. You know, like I'll look at my parents and I'm like, yeah, obviously they're adults, but still, it's like I don't consider myself on their level. So I don't know how to get to that stage or that point. It's really poignant to see that not only are you seeing it in the show and in the characters, but the people who created the show must feel the same way too,
Right.
because they're capturing it so well.
Projection of what's actually going on. And I think that's like the first time that like a show's actually done that, because if you watch like Friends, like even watching Friends now, they were supposed to be in their 20s. Like I'm 36 and I still can't afford an apartment in Manhattan. And I feel like I get paid decently, but I can't live in Manhattan and go shopping every day. And you know, and that's a pretty damn big apartment for Manhattan, let's be honest. Like
both of theirs, I think,
yeah,
right across the
right
hall. Yeah.
And like you're a struggling actor, you could still work and live in Manhattan.
Yeah.
Not buying it, son. Just not. You know, like this is like more relatable. Like, I mean, I don't know what the living is like out in the, you know, the West Coast, because obviously we're East Coast people. But like,
oh yeah, the show takes place in California. I don't know where though, like LA or something.
I'm thinking like around the LA area.
Okay, yeah.
But it's definitely one of those things that you look at and you're like, wow, it's very relatable till now, to like us now, like our generation and what's going on now.
Yeah, and like I said before about the show's premise is about, you know, trying to find yourself, but also these characters are like, all right, you know how Seinfeld is pretty much like those characters, they're not necessarily likable. I mean, they are likable, but they do bad things to people, and it's kind of like the same thing with this show, and which is why it's called like You're the Worst, because they really are self-centered, a lot of them, and they don't really care about themselves. And there's several relationship couples in the show, but the main one is really interesting because every week they go back and forth about trying to reconcile a relationship that none of them really want. And it's interesting because a lot of us tend to do that. Like, are we scared to be alone, or like, why are we just doing this? Are we just doing this for the sex? So like me and Jennifer, we were wondering like, why are we so attracted to bad things? And we wanted to bring that up to the audience, well, to ourselves, and talk it up. Mm-hmm. And also to the audience as well. Like, why are we so addicted to bad things? And has that ever happened to you? Like, you keep going back to like bad things and stuff like that, or bad situations?
I'm raising my hand. Yes, it has. I personally can say that I've gone back to bad situations, or like things that you know are not good for you like just seem to attract you for some reason. And I can't tell you the rhyme or reason or psychological. There probably is a real psychological reason I just never looked into because I don't want to admit to myself. But I think part of it's like exciting. Like part of it is very like, oh, I don't know what's gonna happen next. Like he doesn't call me back ever, but I love him and I'm gonna like love him forever. And you know, I think the lows are really low, but the highs are super, super fucking high. And like those are what you thrive off of, and that's what you survive off of. So like when you hit that low, you're just like, but remember that day? And everything was fine that day. And we had so much fun. Like I was in a really bad relationship. And to this day, I could still like think about moments and be like, ah, wow. And like that person I know for a fact still has not changed. He's still like the same like person he was. And like, that's fine. Yeah, you. But like, I don't know. And I know now as a grown adult who has like emotions and goals and relationships like that was just a shit show with front row tickets. But like, I can honestly still sit here and be like, oh, remember that time? And that's terrible. But it is what it is, man.
Yeah, I think it's because of, I guess, well, women in particular, but also generally speaking, that people don't like complacency. You know, so it's just like, or maybe not complacency. That's the wrong word. Monotonous. You know, just like just straight monotone. Just like every day is the same thing. Routine.
Right.
You know, so it's like, oh man, yeah, he didn't call me. What the hell for? Blah blah blah. I don't understand. So you're like, you're in your own head for like half the day, but it's different from yesterday.
Right.
You know, it's just like, this is something new. Like, oh, you know, as opposed to like, oh, honey, you came home just like you do every day at 6 o'clock, and
we're having dinner.
You're having dinner, and
now we're gonna watch Jeopardy.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I'm saying? Like,
although sometimes I kind of like that. I'm sorry.
Oh no, yeah, it's true. Which is funny because that's literally what one of my friends does with like his wife and kid. Like, you know, they come home, they unwind for a little bit, they they make their food, and then they have dinner, and Jeopardy's like on, well, not on in the background because they watch it, but like, you know, and there's like, you know, how was your day, blah blah blah. That's them. You know, so but that's good for them.
I think after years of bullshit and all of the like hecticness and questioning, like there does come a point where it gets to that and you're like, this isn't so fucking bad.
Right. Do you believe that it could be because of age? Then that might be like,
yeah. I think as you get older, you get to the point where you're kind of like, okay, I'm X amount of years old, and depending on like what your clock is looking like, you're just like, I should be, or I'd like to be. There's no should in any of this, but I'd like to be married, or I'd like to be settled down. Like, we all can be honest with ourselves and say the dating game sucks, and that, you know, you're like, I just want to be settled, and in order to be settled, I can't be settled with somebody who's as sporadic as Mr. X.
Yeah.
You know, and like, if this is what it takes to be settled, then I better get my shit in order and do it.
Yeah. Yeah. I do believe that age has something to do with it, because, you know, when you're in your low 20s or anything like that, low to mid 20s, you're still trying to find out yourself. And like, unfortunately, you know, let's say a good guy does come along and stuff like that. You don't necessarily want the stereotypical, like, oh, like, you know, White House and picket fence, like, now like you're 23, you know, or whatever, like, yo, I just stopped using my fake ID. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, I want to have fun and like explore and whatever that means to you, you know. But you know, you're like, oh man, I found this guy, he's really good, but like, no, but that guy with the freaking drink, he has a beard. and I want them. You know what I'm saying? So it's like,
I also think you don't know what to do with a good guy at 23. Like, you have no
that's true
idea.
too. Yeah.
I think the only time that like really works in my head is like if you're high school sweethearts and for some reason you like really believe in this whole thing of love and marriage at 17, and then you're like, it's gonna last forever. And then you somehow make it work, which is amazing, and I applaud you. But like I think at 23, you know, and you're like going to the bars with your friends and stuff like that, like there's no like real, I don't know, at 23, like I don't think I was serious about anyone. I don't remember who I was with at 23.
Yeah.
Sorry, sir.
If you're listening, you did mean a lot. You did. It's not like you were a throwaway person. You know what I'm saying?
I remember now. Never mind.
So like you're fine, Mr. 23-year-old, like time warp.
Right.
You're a good person. So I wanted to read this article about, it was from elitedaily.com, and it was about this guy. I mean, not about this guy. This guy wrote it. And he was saying why I'll never understand how any woman could like any man ever. Because apparently, you know, just going on the riff of why do we like things that are bad for us? This guy inherently thinks that all men are evil. So,
does he like girls?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
No, he likes girls.
I'm just saying. I mean, like either way.
No, but he's just saying it's just like, you know, how can any woman would accept a guy's advances if a guy is inherently like the reasons that he gives, you know? So like the first one, he has like 6 of them, so you could go to the website that we have that you will
list the articles.
Yeah, we'll list the articles and stuff like that. So everything that I read will pretty much have on the website. So the first one goes like, we do stupid shit in the name of wanting to fuck you. And I can probably attest to that since I'm a man. You know, like we do. I'm not saying that we do we'll do anything. It's just that like we will give whatever the least resistance is from point A to point B, we will try to get to it. You know, it's because like sex is awesome, and you know it is. You know it to be true in your heart.
Moving on.
And number 2 says we can't remember shit. You know, so like birthdays, and the article says like birthdays and anniversaries. Like, who can remember all that? And
I have to like stick up for men. I'm sorry. Some men actually remember those things.
Yeah. No, I remember it. The reason why I remember it is because of women. Because I know that I'm going to hear some shit if I forget something.
Like, when's my birthday?
Yeah. You're like, yo, bam. You know, like, and so I do it. I mean, sometimes too. No, not even sometimes. Most of the times, yeah, if I'm in a relationship, I'm going to remember the things just because I remember them, because I want to remember it, you know, but in the back of my head as well, like, I'm like, nah, this chick is not going to catch me. Like, I know when we first kissed, where we first kissed, your birthday, your anniversary, your freaking, your favorite, fast food place or whatever. Like, I remember shit.
I dated a guy once and he put my name in his phone as Jen311. I was like, that's kind of cheating. Like, you don't really remember, you're just reminded every time I blow up your phone.
Nah, he remembers that you like the band 311. That's why.
Because I don't, but okay.
Oh, man.
Just not my musical choice.
And the last thing on this list about why he'll never understand how any women could like any man ever is that we think of unspeakable thoughts of you. And this goes into detail. All right. So it goes, your best friend's dad who tells you you've really grown into yourself over the years.
Ew.
The guy at Starbucks who adds an extra dollop of cream to your coffee because you're his favorite customer. The construction worker who asks you some fries with that shake, or whatever the fuck catcallers say. All these men have thought about you in some gross, disgusting capacity. And trust me, those thoughts weren't pretty. And while it might seem like you're the victim here, we're the real victims. The curse of it all is, for us, there is no turning off these thoughts. When you're a guy, there's no lighting a few pumpkin scented candles in your room, pressing play on your 50 Shades of Grey audiobook, and gently twisting the faucet of dirty thoughts in your mind while you have a little more me time. For us, these thoughts are more of like a dam bursting, and there is no telling when we're going to think them or who the victim of these thoughts is going to be. But rarely, never, has there been a time when we've thought them in a situation where we can actually vocalize them, unless we're with our boys, and still it's not always safe. Consequently, we've been training since our first pube to push these thoughts back into our head so we can focus on other thoughts throughout our day. A skill that undoubtedly conditioned our ability to multitask. Because if we're really truly vocal about every thought we had, no woman would ever speak to us ever again.
Is that the baseball thing? Like, you guys think about baseball to like get your
baseball, massaging our grandma, anything.
I don't know if us ladies have anything like that. I mean, I think baseball would do it for me too. I'd be like, ugh, baseball. That's pretty creepy that the guy wrote that, but I mean, it's like, thank you for shouting all guys out. We already know that though, as ladies, that like most men, you know, look at you and like do that lower lip bite thing, and you're like, ugh, you're nasty. But like, we do it too. But just, I guess, not as like forward about it.
Right.
I mean,
well, men are visual, that's why. So
my friend like showed me a picture the other day, and I was like, but then like she like told me it was her cousin, and I was like, oh, my bad, son. I'm really sorry. And he's like mad young, and I just felt like all kind of like dirty and disrespectful. I was like, oh man, shit.
Yeah. It's pretty bad. Yeah, those
But
those
I
thoughts.
think that, you know, what was the first one again?
The first one is, we do stupid shit in the name of wanting to fuck you.
Yeah, you guys do, but you know what? I think sometimes we find it cute. I don't know why. It's back to the why we love things that are wrong for us. You know, like,
well, it's because you see our heinous attempt to try to, you know, do something like, hey, come here often or whatever, and you're like, oh boy,
God,
here we go, like, here he comes with his
that's
lines.
Stupid, but that's not gonna work.
Yeah,
I mean, not for me, sorry.
well, yeah, but you know, like, you can just tell that, like, you know, you guys sit back and relax, and you're just like, all right, let me see the freaking jester tricks that this guy is trying to do to get in my pants. So maybe that's why you guys find it cute, but at the same time, it's like, I don't know. Yeah,
I mean, I don't know. I guess like back in the day, there was things that I found more acceptable than like now. I'd be like, go somewhere, sir.
Right.
Like, I'm not trying to hear about your, you know, fight you had with this guy, or, you know, what kind of car you have and that you go racing on the weekends. Nobody cares.
Oh, well, no, I wouldn't say that.
Sorry,
know.
I don't care.
Well, okay, that's better. But I know that. Can I say prefer? I guess I'll say prefer that women do, or at least that I see, women prefer men who have stories to tell, because not to say that, oh, that means that they're cultured or whatever.
But are they stories?
But they have.
Or are they stories? Like, are they bullshit lies, or are they like real things that are happening in your life?
Oh, not. I mean, not like, oh, like I drove the new Tesla, you know, the other day. Not like that, but like just stories that just.
Right. For example, I reconnected with a friend who I haven't talked to in like years. We got into a fight over something dumb because he was being dumb, and we haven't talked, but we found each other on Facebook, and it was like, oh, hey, quick catch up. He gets on the phone with me and starts telling me, and I don't care if he hears this, he probably won't because I don't plan on contacting him again, but he gets on the phone with me and tells me, yeah, I've been working with lawyers because I have a patent for something with Ford, but he didn't get into it. And I'm like, you are lying. Like, I heard you were dealing. Why you lying? Like, I heard you were dealing drugs somewhere, son. Like, yeah, don't come with me. And then he's like, I went to culinary school in Canada. I'm like, that's great. Well, I gotta go because my parents just came. So, you know, it's been real good catching up. Glad to hear you're still alive and breathing.
Right.
Peace. Yeah. Like, delete. Like, no. Like, that's the thing. Like, you could tell stories, try to be whatever, but be real about it. Be like, yo, you know what? I traveled to like South Africa or South wherever, just South.
Just South.
I'm like, word.
South Africa, South Jersey.
Right. Same thing. I don't know. So like, you know, like tell me about how cultured you are. Don't tell me about some BS. And I don't like when people come at you and like they come like they're bragging about something, you know, because you don't really, especially if you don't know them and they're just doing it to get in your pants. You don't know if they're being real or not. And who's got time for that?
Yeah.
Nobody.
Nobody
does.
No, I feel you. No, but yeah, but going on the riff of accepting bad things. Why do we keep going back to bad things? There's another article on EliteDaily.com, and it's talking about 3 reasons.
Thank you, Elite Daily.
Yeah, you supply us. 3 reasons you keep going back to your ex. So exes are usually bad for us, which is why they're exes. Oh no, you cannot tap out. You need to strap in. All right. So there's listed 3 reasons on the article, but I only put 2. Because the second one I really didn't like. But so it goes as follows as this. I wondered years for myself, and I have noticed when people say they ended relationships that they actually rarely do. We are finished, and this time I mean it. I never want to hear from you again. Countless times we have heard this conversation carried out or told to us by family or friends, or we've read about it on social media. I've pinpointed a few solutions to 3 moments that say everything but we are finished with this relationship. Number 1, you keep answering the "what are you doing?" and "I am thinking about you" texts. Don't allow someone to loiter in the hallways of your life any longer. If you will work it out, then work it out. If not, then tell him or her to flee from your life. As a man, I can tell you I am a former master manipulator. I have witnessed women reach the edge of being over their exes when suddenly they reach out via text, photo, or by flooding your timeline with likes. This is the point where love addiction can take a hold of you. Men can give just enough love, then leave you emotionally high and return to your iMessages or DMs just as you approach emotional wholeness. You can fight back by deleting every avenue for him to contact you, verbally demanding you have no more interactions, or filling your time with people who acknowledge your worthiness. This used to drive me crazy initially, but over time, we as men understood the point. Do you have anything to say about that?
Wow. I'm speechless right now. That was what that was.
Oh, okay.
That was my Chewbacca noises because I just don't know really what to say because there's so much to say.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know. I mean, I'm guilty of it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, lock me up. Throw away the key.
Right.
It's very hard to do that. Like, there's some people who have completely done you wrong, and you know, you're just like, all right, you know what? You're getting blocked on Facebook. You're getting blocked on Instagram, and I'm taking you off my GChat, and you know, feeding you to the wolves because that's where you belong.
Right.
And, you know, and then there's other ones that you're just like, I can't.
Yes.
Like, I just can't do it because sometimes you don't even end on like really bad terms. And it's just like, it's just not working. But obviously, like, this is the thing. Like, this is always, I want to say my excuse, but that's not the word I want to use. Like, there's always a reason why you're with somebody. And as long as it's not sex, that's a very hard bond to break. Like, you guys may vibe on the same things and like the same things and find the same things funny. And it's very hard in this day and age to find real people like that. So sometimes, like, you can't let go of that. That's really hard to let go of. It's like, okay, well, we're not going to say I love you anymore. We're not going to have sex anymore. Maybe. But
asterisk.
Like use to your discretion. But like, I can't say I never want to speak to you again because I do.
Yeah.
Like, you know, Mr. Horrible, Mr. X. Like, I don't ever want to date him ever again. But there's sometimes things that I'm like, he would find that so funny. And only he would. Because he's just as twisted as me in that part of his brain.
Yeah.
But that's bad. And like he pretty much I don't want to use that word. He pretty much like exited me out of the whole situation, you know, and that's fine. And I think it's better for us because I think we are kind of those people that know that we're bad for each other in a relationship, but for some reason we'd be like, this is a good idea just because we get along so well.
Yeah.
But you know, there's those ones that you just still love and you're just like, maybe it can work. Maybe we could fix it, you know, but if only one person's on like team fix it, then, you know. But you just go back because it's home. It's normal. It's what it is.
Yeah.
You know, it's not good.
No, it really isn't. I totally understand what you're talking about because with my ex, like I said in the last podcast, in our initial podcast that you can listen back on, it's good. So, with my ex, it's been 3 years since, not that I've seen her, that we've been broken up, but it still seems like yesterday every time like I still speak to her, and we speak to each other on and off, you know, just enough just to keep each other at bay and stuff like that. But you know, when she calls me to talk about, let's say, a show that we used to watch with each other, or a show that I started and she wanted to hop on, and like she would be like, oh, I'm up to the episode where this happens here and this happens here, and I'm like, oh man, I was like, don't do that. You know, like, yeah. I'm at home and we're vibing and we're talking, and like she catches things that, you know, that she knows that I would catch and stuff like that, and like it feels so good. It's just like, oh, why doesn't this work?
The track that comes to mind that would be part of my soundtrack would be Raphael Sadiq, You Should Be Here. Yeah. Okay. That would be playing in my head, right, in the background. Like, you're telling me all these things, but we could be together doing it instead of on the phone, apart. Because like at that point when you're like vibing like that, it's like, this doesn't make sense. Yeah. Like, we get along so well, and do you know how hard it is to find someone that you get along that well with? Yeah. But like I said, if you're not in like team fix it together, I mean,
it's true. And like I was telling Jennifer before with like my ex and some of the other exes that I've dealt with, it's very hard to have that closeness with somebody and not be able to be with them, right? Because just like she said, you know, you vibe so much, but you vibe so much and you already established why you guys can't be together. But like every time, like maybe she mentioned something that you didn't even say out loud, like it was like in your head, you're like, holy shit, like she got that all on her own. And I was thinking the same thing, like, yo, we freaking vibe so much. I know we can't be together because of X, Y, and Z, but it's like, wow, like this sucks. You know what I'm saying? So like it does, like this sucks. Like, why am I even here? You know, but you've decided to either not be with that person or be friends, and right. It's like, this stinks.
You almost wonder if like they're having that out of body experience too. Like, wait a minute. Like, yeah. You know, they never really say, but like, you know, it's almost like you want to like be somebody else and tap on their shoulder and be like, hey, did you get that? You guys are like, you know, very compatible here.
Yeah,
like, you have to be like a third person.
Yeah, it's just like, yeah, or like a, you know, or like a fly on the wall at that person's like apartment or place to see if they rummage through their mind, you know, about like this, right, all that stuff that you do too. You like they come on, they must have felt that. Like, come on, you must have felt that.
Because if you ask, you get like the duh.
Or like the, you know, like, nah, like, or like, no, we're just friends, remember? We can't do that stuff. And you're like, yo, come on, man. like what's really good?
Oh, man.
It's crazy. So the next reason is the person is still in your bed. The next time you make up your bed in the morning, place only one pillow on the bed.
No.
This will serve as the beginning of obtaining clarity over your love status. Sex is an action that ties up the emotions of the strongest humans. Getting a 2-year-old out of your bed is tough, but getting the man, the protection, or the affection out of your bed can be strenuous on the heart. My suggestion is to stop. My suggestion is to stop taking calls after 9 p.m. from the desired party, and no in-person visits after 7 p.m. Don't fool yourself into believing you are stronger than you are because you listen to Run the World, Girls by Beyonce during the week. Your emotions will run you until you commit to a healthier sexual and mental lifestyle. Be careful not to sleep with the enemy and miss out on your opportunity to connect with the person you belong to. Sex can never replace the peace of mind you will have by choosing to lose the loser. In the case your desire to hold on proves to be worth it, communicate the failures of your relationship openly. We can become blinded by good times and resist stirring up prior moments of pain. Do the real work to ensure the love you are investing in is being deposited into someone who sees your stock as a couple on the rise. If that fails, you can always sell and be happy with the riches of peace of mind.
At first I was like, I don't agree with this, and then like you got to the part where oh man.
Yeah.
So like we talked about last episode how I do like to sleep alone because I like my bed space.
Yes.
But I will say that in the beginning it's like very hard. You're like, that side of the bed is his side of the bed, and that's his nightstand, and those are his pillows. Even if you went to like, you know, Target and bought them yourself, you're like, they're still his. Like, I can't sleep on his side of the bed. I mean, now I sleep horizontal, but like,
that's another issue. That's episode 3. Why the hell do you sleep horizontal?
I don't know. I'm short and I feel more comfortable that way. And then I don't feel like the bed's empty. Like, I feel like I am laying across all these pillows now. No one can come in this bed.
Right.
But yeah, it's difficult. It's very hard. And I agree that if you are going to share a bed with the enemy, that sounds terrible, that you should like work on in your head like where you went wrong. And I can say that I've done that. I definitely have. Not speaking to whether or not I've shared the bed or not, but like I definitely have gone over in my head like where I've gone wrong, because you have to. But again, if you're the only one on Team Fix It, you know, I don't know what you're doing it for. You're doing it for yourself at least. You know, hopefully at one point then you'll just be like, okay, now I'm going to stop taking calls and stop taking the text messages if it doesn't all work out the way you want. I guess you just have to put a timeline on that. But it's hard. I mean, could you do it?
Actually, this is very unconventional, but I remember one of the last times that me and my ex whatever, not even slept in the bed, like had sex, you know, and I decided to, because we were ending the relationship, but obviously, you know, we still like loved each other and stuff like that. But we decided to get, because we were engaged, we decided to get a marriage counselor. Or like a pre one, I forget what they're called, like whatever.
Right.
But
couples therapy, whatever.
Yeah, couples therapy. Thank you.
Good show.
So, so he sent us, you know, a form, and it was a relationship evaluation form. So I was like, oh, okay, you know, we'll take this, whatever. But we never took it, you know, and we like ended the relationship and stuff like that. But I still decided that I wanted to know what was wrong, what I did wrong, if I did anything wrong, and I wanted to know her side as well. And we decided to take it, like, you know,
post breakup.
Yeah, post breakup.
Okay.
So that's what we did. You know, we met each other, and then, you know, I was like, yo, like, listen, you know, I want to sit down and I want to do this because, you know, whatever, you know, and me being the idiot that I am, you know, thinking that like, oh, maybe I can use this so we can get back together or whatever.
Right.
But if anything, I wanted to know what she thought of me and stuff like that, and what I would think of her. And the evaluation went pretty good because it was a form. It's probably like, I don't know, like 20 questions and stuff like that. Not hard at all, especially if you know your partner. So we took it and we learned a lot from each other, and it was good. And because we were trying to transition like what we were going to be, because obviously we couldn't be together anymore. But, you know, like you said, it's very hard to lose that person.
Right.
So she wanted, even though she couldn't be my wife, and she wouldn't demote herself down to girlfriend. she made it a stance to say she still wanted me in her life because I was that special to her.
Right.
Which for me, or I guess like for guys or whatever, like I don't know, like that it hurts, but like it doesn't make sense at the same time, but it does make sense. You know?
Right.
Like I'm so special, but you can't.
But not good enough for this.
Yeah, not good enough for that. But what are you gonna do? But we took it, and it was good, and because we were trying to transition to what we were going to be. So we decided to be friends. I mean, currently right now, I guess, yeah, technically we are friends, but I mean, I haven't heard from her in like a couple weeks, and I mean, yeah, we'll probably talk about that in another episode. but yeah, but back then we decided to be friends, and
so let me ask you, like, if she were to like come over, like, let's say she was in your area,
okay,
and she were to come over,
yes,
and let's say she was tipsy. I don't know. I mean, I don't think she's that girl, but like, let's just say she was.
Yes.
For the sake of this conversation.
Okay.
And she was like, I need a place to crash. Would you let her crash with you in your bed on her side?
Ooh. I would probably, because I'm that guy. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't want her to be in trouble and stuff like that. Yeah, I would. But if what you're actually intending,
how fucked up would you be the next day?
Yeah, like, oh, okay. I thought you were gonna say if I was gonna do anything else. I thought you were like leaning towards that.
Would you?
Would I
sleep with the enemy, as this guy puts it in his Elite Daily article?
Right. That would definitely have to be a at the moment thing,
right?
Because I know the consequences to that.
Sometimes shit happens, man.
I know, but the thing is, yeah. But me right now, sitting here with you right now, I know the consequences, and I know how I am. Like, let's say if I did that with her, I would be fucked up for a month. Damn. Like, I would be fucked up for a month, and like open like Pandora's box.
Right. Absolutely.
And I guess maybe I said it in our first episode that I am an overthinker. So my mind would be racing. I wouldn't even think about anything else. I'd go to work and I would think about that. I'd go to sleep. I'd think about that.
You wouldn't be able to sleep. Trust me.
Well, yeah, I would do everything, cause I'd be like, my whole being would be like, why?
Right.
Like, why? Like, why do you want to, but why everything? You know what I'm saying? Like, why would you want to do this? Why did you sleep with me? Why didn't we sleep earlier? You know what I'm saying? Like, all this stuff. Like, every why that you can think of. You know? It would be insane. I really don't know. Yeah. Yeah, USA, yeah, exactly. Because I would already be thinking about it right there. Like, if I open the door and she's like, "Hey, I need help," blah blah, and I need to stay over.
Damn.
I'd be like, "Fuck," you know what I'm saying? Like, damn it! Like, I know where this is going.
Right.
I know where this is going.
So what else does Mr. Elite Daily have to say?
Oh no, well that's pretty much about it. On that front, but we do have like one more article, one more thing that I wanted to bring up, and because we're talking about exes, we're talking about shows about exes, so I wanted to dig up a couple things about what shows got us hooked on relationships.
Oh, true.
So I mean, for me, like, my catalog goes way back, because I don't even know why. Well, no, I'm lying. I do know why I love to think about relationships and want to decipher what relationships are, because they're so interesting to delve into, like why people like each other, why things don't work out, and they're not logical, and not to say that they should be, but they're just not. Like, people can do something because they just don't want to do it, and you're like, well, wait, I've done all this stuff for you, and the other person can be like, yeah, and you're like, wow. And it's so nuts. For me, the first show that I really watched based on relationships was back during when the reality TV era really first started, and I'm not talking about Real World and stuff like that, but a little show called Temptation Island. Do you remember this show? Yeah,
I do. Let me see if I remember correctly. Like, okay, you go on this island.
Yeah.
I don't remember who the host was. I think he did something with Full House. Maybe not.
No. I think his name was Mark Burnett, or he made the show.
Mark Burnett made Full House, I think.
Oh, okay, there you go.
I could be wrong, but I just watched a thing on Lifetime, and I think I'm right.
Okay, no, you could be right. Oh well, I think he worked on Survivor too.
He probably did.
He's a beast
like
on TV.
Yeah, he's no joke.
Yeah.
But where was it going with this? So you go on with your mate, your partner.
Yeah.
And
they need to be new though, like
new dating,
maybe like
6 months in or something.
No, well, it could be as less as 6 months, but I guess the most is like a year and a half to 2.
Oh,
but go ahead.
So you go on with your partner, and then they like send you off to like different like dates or rooms or something, and there's like really hot people there, and they're like, do you fall victim? Can you stay faithful in a room full of hoes? It's basically essentially what that is.
Right. Well, basically, yeah, you're pretty much on the money. Okay, so from what I can remember, they send you and your boo, whatever, on to the island, and they're on the island. The island is separated in half. So there's the boy side and the girl side, and on the so let's take it from, I guess, the boy side. So every day you'll meet up in the communal place, like everybody, you and your boo, like everybody, because there's like contestants, whatever, and then you'll see the well, let's just call them the tempters for shits and giggles. So they're there, right? And the host is like, all right, so you get to pick the guys group gets to pick girl tempters, and the girls group gets to pick guy tempters for like a date for the night. Okay. So, and the people are recording the date. So let's say like Cameron. Oh well, no. Let's say James wants to go with Denise. So James is like, all right, I'm gonna pick Denise as my tempter, or whatever. So they choose whatever date that they want it to be. And while this is going on, your wife is looking at the person that you picked. So she could be self-conscious and stuff like that. Like, oh my God, like he likes that. He likes big butts and he doesn't lie, or whatever. so they
start squatting, Denise.
so they go on the date. So they go on the date, right? And whatever happens, right? And then at the end of everybody's date, they go into like this they go into this campfire. Right?
Oh, what was it called? Like the tribal something, right?
Maybe. Well, no, you might be talking about Survivor.
I don't know. It was something similar.
Yeah, but it was a campfire, right? And everybody's talking about their dates. So like the thing is, here's the ill thing is, it's like, okay, I think it was like, if you want. Oh no, that's right. So let's say, what was the guy's name? Oh, so let's say James, right? Mm-hmm. So the host is like, all right, James, your wife went on a date with like Mandingo. So it's like, so James, if you like, do you want to see clips of your wife's date with Mandingo? So if he says no, then it's fine. But if he says yes, that he wants to see video clips, then that automatically means that she gets to see his date. So let's say he did something a little raunchy, whatever. He has to strategize. It's like, shit. It's like, damn, I really want to see what she did with Mandingo. But, she doesn't know that I was freaking banging out, like.
Right, Tracy or whatever.
Yeah, my tempter, in the woods. So, like, I don't know what I want to do. So that was the whole point. Like, if you can stay faithful. And, yeah, sometimes it would go down, man. Like,
Now, how much of that do you actually think was real?
I don't know. But
it makes you think. That's really the point.
Yeah, that's my thing. Like, yeah, you can never really tell with these reality things, but I take away what I take away. Like, if it was fake, it was fake. But maybe some of it's real. But that's what I take. Could you actually be faithful?
In a room full of
to
hoes.
Your boy. Full of. Yeah, so
that's my tagline on the show. I'm sorry.
So like, yeah. So another one that I really liked, I loved so much, was Dating in the Dark.
Hell yeah, yo, that was awesome.
Yo, Dating in the Dark was the best. Okay, so let me set up do you remember the premise, or do you want to say it?
I basically remember that there was 3 guys and 3 girls, I think.
Yes.
and the guys got to like look into like the girl's private life. The only part I really remember that like really like struck me is like the girls got to go look into the guy's car.
Yes.
You know, to kind of see like what condition he kept his car.
Yes.
Let me just tell you, if a guy looked into my car, he'd be like, this bitch is a mess. Like, my house is clean, but my car has seen better days. Like, there's not like things growing under the seat, but like there's like papers everywhere and umbrellas. There might be a high heel in the back seat. Like, I don't know if that would have worked for me, but I remember that part.
Yeah.
And then I remember like they actually go on one, I think like by the things that they get to see of the other person, whether it be their belongings, their house or whatever it is, their car, their apartment, then they get to pick like the person who out of those things they like the best.
Yes.
And then they went on like a private date with them, I think, in the dark, and it was like absolutely pitch black.
Yeah.
And was that like through a screen or no?
No.
It was touching, right?
Yeah. No, it was like they were both literally in the same room. You can do whatever, but you can't see the person.
Yeah, I mean, and sometimes it got creepy. Like the guy was like, "Oh, come here, give me a kiss." I'm like, "What if he has mouth herpes?" Like, you don't know.
He's so bad.
I'm just saying, like, you don't know these things.
But so let me inform the audience in case you don't know. So Dating in the Dark, it's canceled now. They only had like 2 seasons, U.S. seasons. But they had different ones overseas too, and I've been trying to track those down because I just love the show. So the premise is beauty skin deep? Can you really love somebody past their looks? So I thought that premise was amazing. So what they do is they put you in this house, and again, there's a guy's house. There's a guy's side and a girl's side. And the only way that the two can communicate is 2 ways: via computer, or they go all the way up to the attic where the room is actually, or the room actually is. So the initial date is all contestants go up. It's 3 guys, 3 girls, and they start talking, blah, 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 all this stuff. And then, they go back down, and then they, between amongst the teams, they evaluate the team. Like, oh man, I really like Samantha. She sounds really cool, blah, blah, blah. Meanwhile, the room is pitch dark. You can't see anything. We can see stuff because it's
black night vision. Yeah,
night vision. But to them, they can't see anything. It's funny because they'll like hit each other on the head or whatever. Or, like they'll try to sit down and fall on their ass and stuff like that. So it's pretty funny.
Like, where's the chair?
So like, so all of them pick a person that they want to go out with. So then the initial date happens. They quote unquote meet each other upstairs. So like Michael and Brenda, they go up and they're like talking to each other and whatever. And then some people, they get real intimate, like they start kissing and stuff like that. Or some people, they initiate a date. I remember one, they wanted to do an ice cream date, which was so like they had the scoops there. So like it was really interesting to see them trying to like scoop ice cream and try to feed it to each other and stuff like that. And other people would just talk and try to get to know them, trying to get to know each other better, which was good too. So this would continue on, and like Jennifer said, there was another section. This I think this lasted a week. Did it? That's
a long time.
Well, for them, obviously for us, it's like whatever.
Half hour.
Yeah. But what was I saying? Oh yeah. So just like Jennifer was saying, like the people, like let's say the guys would be able to go through the luggage of the women. The luggage of the women is like, oh wow, this person like has a thong. All right, she's adventurous, whatever.
Right.
And like Jennifer said, like the girls would go in the person's cars or whatever, go through their personal belongings and stuff. And then a couple more dates pass by until they get to the final date. And then but they want to choose who that person is, because sometimes they really encourage you to go through each contestant to see who you really want to go through. And then the person's like, no. Michael's like, nah, I want Brenda. Brenda's awesome. I want her a lot. So Brenda's like, oh my God, Michael wants to see me. This is great. So they go up, they do the final date. And then the evaluation happens. And this is how the evaluation happens. So they go into the room, right? The dark room. Okay, so let's say it's Michael and Brenda. So, let's say okay. So this is what they do. They stand in the room, and then they shine a spotlight on Deborah first.
Brenda.
Yeah, Brenda.
No, you said Deborah.
Oh, I did?
It
I'm
doesn't-
sorry.
It doesn't really matter. 'Cause all these names are just quickly made up at the top of our head. So go ahead.
Yeah. So
Just not to confuse people.
Yeah. So they shine a light on Brenda, and so Michael sees Brenda in all her glory or her disgustingness, whatever. So they show us, and then they show a quick clip of Michael, like, oh, hey, yo, she looks really good.
Or like,
And then they take the spotlight away. Then they do the same thing and they show Brenda Michael. And then I've seen people be like, ugh. Like, no. So they do that with all the contestants. So then they go to their respective rooms. And then they're like, yo, like, are you going to, the choices, are you going to pick that person
Right.
to start actually dating? And if not, then, then it's a wrap. So they make you, so this is the ill thing, right? Okay. So let's say it's your turn. So it's Michael and Brenda's turn, right? So they have Michael, no. They'll have Brenda
stand on the
balcony to wait for Michael. Now, if Michael accepts Deborah's looks,
Brenda.
Whatever. Whatever. Thank
Who's
you.
Deborah?
I don't know. Brenda's looks. Then he accompanies her on the balcony. But if he does not like Brenda's looks, Michael leaves the house. But the thing is, you see from the balcony
Him
that
walking.
Michael is leaving the house
He
with
bounced.
his luggage and is leaving. So you just feel like shit. You know what I mean? And that's like so bad. I'm like, what? Are you kidding me? So like,
I mean, going on those shows, you have to know that there's a good possibility.
yeah.
I mean, I know a lot of those shows are actors too, but again, it's the whole thing of it, like you said, the main question is beauty skin deep? Is it something that you like a whole love at first sight thing? Are you going to be there and be like, this person's hot, so I want to date them?
Yeah.
But then you like get into their house and you're like, ew, this bitch wears granny panties and like her car is a mess or his car is a mess. And it was definitely a cool social experiment. Whether or not it was real or not, we don't know.
Yeah.
That might have been Mark Burnett too. Who knows?
Yeah, right? Yeah.
He's on fire, that
beast
one.
mode. Yeah, beast mode. Anything. And the last one and the current one that we're watching, not necessarily together at the same time, but we're watching it is...
I'm a little behind, FYI.
I haven't seen... No, I've seen the last episode.
Okay.
But Married at First Sight.
And not the second season.
Well, I mean...
No, not the second...
the first... You mean the first year, you mean?
No. Not the second season of Married at First Sight. We're watching Married at First Sight and Married at First Sight the first year.
Oh, yeah. We're watching the original and the spinoff.
Right.
But essentially, real quick, because I know you guys are tired of hearing my voice. But...
Would you like me to explain it?
Oh, go ahead.
Okay. So this is why I liked Married at First Sight, is because I have like the background in like psychology and social work. I liked that they actually gave like singles in New York area. They said, who wants to get married at first sight? This is what you have to do. You're going to meet the person at the altar. We're going to match you based on sex, religion, likes, dislikes, wants, whatever. And then you're going to meet this person at the altar and you are going to marry them, and you have to stay married for at least the 6 weeks. And then at that point you will decide whether or not you want to divorce.
Yeah.
And
you only meet them at the altar.
Right.
You don't meet them. You don't know
pictures
name,
before.
no nothing. You don't know nothing. Nothing about this person.
I guess like I don't know like if they asked you like race or ethnicity.
Oh no, they'll tell you who would you
like they
wanna
said
be
it was
with.
like an extensive questionnaire.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest with you, I looked at the questionnaire once.
Really?
Yeah, because like everyone was like, you should go. Like after my whole breakup, they're like, you should do it, and I was like, why not? Nothing else is going on in life. And I looked at the questionnaire, and like I got through like a page or two.
Yeah,
it's exhausting. Like, and it's like kind of like similar, slightly to the questions like they ask you like on one of those dating sites, like, how do you feel about this or how do you feel about that? But you have to be brutally honest. Like, do you want a man with kids? Like, yes or no? Do you believe? That religion is very important to you. Like, how important is sex to you? And how many times a week do you think you'd want to have sex? Or whatever the questions are. I don't remember off the top of my head. But I remember being very, very lengthy. And I remember when they did the first couple episodes, they asked the people and they said, like, yeah, it took me hours and hours to fill out these questions.
Yeah,
and
like I believe for some reason in my head, it was probably like 6 or 7 hours.
Yeah, I believe so too.
It's Diesel.
But then they have like an expert. One of them, I believe, is like a psychologist, and one of them
is a sociologist.
A sociologist, and
sexologist,
spiritual,
and a spiritual advisor.
Yeah. All of which I think are very important in a relationship. But then they kind of like said, okay, day one, here we go. And, you know, the girl's like getting ready and the guy's getting ready and they haven't seen each other yet, but you see them.
Yeah.
And, you know, they did the traditional, like, give your husband and bride a gift before the wedding.
Right.
So they would just say, like, you know, I think one of them sent like a card, like, to my wife to be or to my husband to be. You don't know who it is yet. And then you see the guy at the altar, and in the room is like her family and his family.
Yeah. So they're meeting each other for the first time too.
Right. And already he's looking at her side of the family like, damn, is that her sister? She might be fine.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, you know, she's looking like, you know, her family is like observing him like, oh, she's gonna love him.
Yeah.
Or no, what the fuck?
Yeah. Run. Yeah.
Like, tell her to leave.
Yeah.
And then, like, you see that person's face as they're walking down the aisle, and usually it's like of like, you know, the guy's like crying, and I mean, these are the weddings I've been to. And the guys are like kind of like tearing up, and the bride is like, this is her moment, but that's not the look you see. You see like total fear and like holy shit, this is about to go down.
Yeah, because when they walk in and they see the guy, it finally hits them.
Right.
It finally hits them. They're like, whoa, I'm in my wedding dress. I'm getting married to somebody that I literally just met right now.
And for most women, this is like the moment that you've been waiting for.
Yeah.
Not everybody, but obviously I would say, like, for the women on these shows, like, they obviously really, really, really wanted to get married to go to this extreme.
Yeah, because some of them, you hear like their backstory, like they've been like on and off of dating for like 2 or 3 years. Like one person, I remember in the second season, they were single for like 5 years or something that, and they were like, I can't take it anymore, you know. So
right.
Yeah.
I mean, the dating is hard, and I guess like if you get to the point where like I don't have the energy to put in this work to find somebody, it's a lot of work to just be in a relationship, let alone to find someone to be in a relationship with, someone who you're gonna like vibe with like that. And I think that, like, you know, they're like, oh, fuck it, I'll do it.
Yeah.
You know, but like that moment, I almost feel like in a way like that moment is like spoiled for you, because now you're like doing this in front of all of America or anybody who decides to subscribe and watch. And then, you know, they get married, and like for the first season, everyone said yes, I do. Yeah, the first season, everyone said no. Everyone.
It's 2 out of 3.
No. But everyone got married at first sight.
Oh yeah.
Not everyone stayed together.
Yeah.
You know, and they went through the 6 weeks. They went through the honeymoon. So now you're married. You met this person for X amount of hours. You have that party that everybody likes to have. You do the dancing, you know, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And then you go on your honeymoon.
Yep, like probably a couple days after you go on your honeymoon.
I think it's like that night they went, or then maybe the next day.
Yeah, the next day, or like definitely less than a week.
Right.
You know, and you don't pick the place because you don't even know
who the person is.
You just married. So so the show picks the place, and I guess they pay for it, and then you go. And now you're supposed to be
in a bathing suit
in this beautiful place
right.
with a complete stranger on your honeymoon. You know, and it's amazing.
Do you have sex? Don't you have sex?
Some people have. Some people have done it. Some people haven't. Some people waited until maybe they really got to know each other, maybe in the second week or so. Some people did it when people traditionally do it is, you know,
on your honeymoon night.
No, not on the honeymoon night. Like the night of the wedding.
Oh yeah, well yeah.
Yeah, you know, that's like, you know, so it's like, wow, I just met this person, I married this person, now I'm having sex. You know,
but I mean, like, let's be honest, like if you're one of those people who are okay with like one night stands and hooking up on a regular basis, then like you're just like, it's all the same shit.
Yeah, it's whatever, you know, and like, not that we're condoning, we don't slut shame. You know, it's no. Like if you want to do that, go right ahead, you know. So, but yeah, my reasoning for liking the show is just I love that they try to like truncate the, I guess, like whatever, like algorithms of what a relationship is, and they try to just like shove it in like to like 6 weeks, like whatever relationship you had before, you know, you get married, they try to truncate it in like 6 weeks, and it's like, wow, like how do you even do that? And it's so cool that somebody's trying to, I guess, mathematize like love, to put it in a evaluation form in a sheet, and put it in an equation, just like, oh, here you go, here's we set up your perfect match,
right?
And I find that very interesting to see if that's even possible, because my thing is, the test is trying to find out what you guys love about each other without you guys knowing. So it's like, okay, we're married now. I just met you. We're married now. Now we need to figure out
what
why,
you like, who you are,
why we like.
When's your birthday? Are you gonna remember our anniversary? Like,
no, but like we just met each other. Now we're gonna figure out why we're meant for each other,
right?
Because this test says we are, and that's cool. Cause because it's the same premise as, like, let's say if somebody was going out for like whatever, how long, like, I don't know, from 2 years to 5 years, like, you ask that person, let's say if you can go back and ask that person who's been with that person for 5 years, and then go back on day 2 and be like, yo, do you know you're gonna marry this chick in 5 years? You're like, what are you talking about? No, I'm not. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I'm just trying to get some ass. But like, no, now you guys are married, you have kids and stuff like that. Who would have thought that? This test does. Well, it's trying to, and I like that. That's really cool.
I just definitely like the expert part of it. That was definitely, anytime there was a problem, they would kind of come and interject and like help you through it, which is cool because you don't necessarily have that in regular relationships unless you like sign up for counseling. But like, kind of like, okay, you see what you did there? You are being fucking selfish. Like, you can't be like that. You have to think of this person's needs. And it really makes people like step back. Like, one of my favorite things that they did was the fishbowl experiment. Like, when the doctor came in and was like, okay, you guys need to learn how to be more intimate with each other, because obviously, when you first meet somebody, if you're not sure about them, when you are on the more conservative side, you're not going to be like, hey, let me spread my legs for you.
Yeah, especially in the time allotted for this experiment, like in 6 weeks. Let's say if you're regularly dating, 6 weeks is a month and 2 weeks.
Right.
Like, I mean, there are people who have sex before then, and there's some people who do it after. But now you're dealing with your husband or your wife. So it's like, why aren't you doing it? You know what I'm saying?
Now,
so it's like
that particular
it's a big
experiment like allowed you to kind of like pick things out of a bowl, and like questions like, like, what was it? Like, what's your favorite place to be kissed?
Yeah.
And those are questions that you should kind of know. And it was like in a very kind of PG manner, and I think the one couple got like the sex dice and
yeah.
Like they kind of did that.
And the sex dice is, so all around the die is blank, and you have a marker, and you write on one die you write what you want to do, and on the other die you write where you want to do it.
I think they actually have them pre-made.
No, they do. They do. But they wrote it.
Blow, kiss, suck.
Yeah.
And then like on the other dice is like body parts.
Yeah, the body, exactly. So like they had that, and so so there's stuff like that too. That's fun. If you guys are, well, I don't want to say
adventurous.
Yeah, adventurous. Or if you guys want to be adventurous and you are too shy to do that. But yeah, it's a really cool show. I mean, they made a spin-off of the show, which is called Married at First Sight, the first year, to chronicle, the first year of marriage, because the first year of marriage, they say, is like the hardest. So they wanted to, and people, the show was a hit. The show is a hit. So they wanted to still chronicle those people who were involved in the first experiment to see where they have gone, and what the deal is and all that stuff. So it was very interesting. But the original Married at First Sight is a great experiment.
It's an awesome social experiment. I mean, the validity of the second season of the new couples they chose, like, I know it's been questioned everywhere on the internet, but
yeah.
I mean, I really truly believe that for the most part, the first season was like very pure and like legit.
Yeah, I think that's why I liked it too, because it was like well, before I even know that you watched, it was like my little show, It was just
right.
like, oh, this is so pure, like no one knows about it. But like in the second season, like they had like not a cathedral, but like the wedding ceremony was that much bigger, because I guess they had all this money from advertising, so it felt kind of diluted. Mm-hmm. But the premise was still there, and I like it. And I don't know if because because of that second season, they didn't know if it was coming back, whatever, because they were already filming the third season, but then they stopped production because of all the turmoil of the second season and stuff like
Right.
that. But they finished the third season, and it's coming on December 1st.
I did see that, and it's gonna be like in
Atlanta.
Oh, Atlanta.
Yeah, it's gonna be in Atlanta.
Okay.
So
I guess I'm out of that match. Maybe I can sign up for the 4th season. God knows he may still be single by then.
Oh man.
But yeah.
That's cool. But that's cool that you did the evaluation. And I never knew that. That's pretty
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah.
I always wanted to see, because everybody was like, "Oh, you're always talking about relationships, Martini. Why don't you like be in it?" I was like, dude, like I can't be in it. One, I'd probably be too like gun shy, and like two, it's like I would like to be married, but I am in no position to be married. I'd be a laughing stock on the internet, you know.
Right, but I mean, like, I don't know. I guess I guess I could understand why some of those women got to the point, because I was like out of the relationship and I was feeling bad about it, and you get back to square one and you're like, gotta do this all over again, blah 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 blah, and you're like, I give up. What's the fastest way to get to like what I really want?
Yeah,
you know, even though that's a whole nother story, but like you're like, oh, I'll start filling out the questionnaire, and I'm like, fuck it, this is too much work too.
no, it is.
Like,
it is
it's as much work as a relationship, and I don't have the patience for it right now.
But even with the show, it's hard, because I mean the reason why I said I'd be like a laughing stock is because, you know, yeah, you meet each other and then you go to the honeymoon, but then now the real experiment happens, because now you need to find a place
Right.
with each other, and then you talk about financials.
I wonder how much they helped them with that though, because remember the one guy lived like in his mom's basement, and
Doug.
on the second season, oh, Doug did too, right? Yeah.
What guy? Oh yeah,
And he was like, "This is my
Ryan R.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know. I wonder if they helped them with that,
I don't
because
think they did.
technically they only have to live in the place for 6 weeks, because then, you know.
Well, but they still need to get married. No,
No.
I mean, stay married, I should say.
That's if they stayed married.
Yeah.
So I wonder if like they gave them like, here's a check. Tell this landlord you need a place for 6 weeks, and we'll give them $4,000 for a 1-bedroom apartment
I don't know how it works,
in like
but
Trenton.
maybe they did do that, but the exchange between man and wife still happened, you know, like,
right.
you know,
looking
so
for the place, picking out like what kind of place you want.
yeah,
and
so that's the
agreeing
thing.
on like closet space and all those things that go into like looking for an apartment together.
Yeah, because on the first season, one of the couples, like, they treated it as if like they were still single and they had a roommate. So like the guy had to move into the woman's apartment, but he can only like move in his bed, and he had like a 4-tier dresser, and like that was it.
Right.
And you know, the experts came in and they were like, what are you doing? Like, this is your husband, he deserves like more room. And she's like, I know, but still. And it's like,
Right.
what the, like, you're just not getting it. So it's a very interesting show, and I encourage everybody to
Yeah, if you're
watch
interested
it.
in social experiments, relationships, it's
Yeah,
definitely
just like we are.
Right.
you know, if you're interested in all that stuff, just like we are, please definitely
it's
watch
on
that.
FYI. I think the original
Yes.
season was on A&E.
Yeah.
You can probably still watch like A&E on demand.
No. That's the other way around.
Oh, it was originally on FYI. and
Original
now it's on
FYI.
A&E?
Yeah. Well, A&E owns FYI, but I guess they wanted to get into the pot too. Like they both.
So you can probably watch it on both.
Yeah. You watch it on both, and it's also online as well. So.
And maybe even Hulu. I don't think it's on Hulu.
What are you doing? No, it used to be on Hulu. Well, at least the first season. I don't know about now.
Right.
But yeah, with Dating in the Dark, I don't know. I guess you're gonna have to like go on like YouTube or something like that, or
Probably.
like, try to go like overseas or something like that. But that's a fun show too.
Trying to go overseas.
Not go overseas.
Just to watch Dating in the Dark.
Get the overseas like show.
Version. Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
the version.
Like, I'm
whatever.
going to Italy to watch Dating in the Dark.
But yeah, that's a great show too. So yeah.
So I don't know. Are we at the meme of the day part?
Oh yes, we're trying to start a new section of our podcast, and this is like the last thing that we'll usually do, and it's called meme of the day, because we love memes, but we want to concentrate more on the memes dealing about relationships, whether they be sarcastic, funny, serious, sad, or anything like that. So yeah, we have a whole folder filled with like memes, and we're gonna talk about them every episode at the end, and we'll give a little discussion about what it means to us. So Jennifer,
All right, so this is from Summy Cards, and you know how they go. And the meme says, getting into a relationship may seem tempting, but so was getting on the Titanic. Ugh, getting on the Titanic, and look what happened there.
Yeah. So, I mean, me and Jennifer and I, we usually talk off podcast, I guess, off air. And like, we'll talk about like how we're doing in our separate advances, towards dating and things like that. And then we're like, yeah, we like, man, like I would love to like be in a relationship right now, or like, oh, I'm lonely, if I can like just hug somebody right now in this moment, or this makes me think of this, whatever. And then we like catch a bite. We're like, yes, oh, like we got a bite. And then like it's like, ugh, what is this? Like, no,
Nobody's
like,
got time.
yeah, it's like a waste of time. Like, who is this person? I don't know. Like, I don't know. I mean, I can't speak for her, but for me, I'm just like, oh, I'm not ready. Because for me, I guess, well, I don't know. Maybe it's half and half that I put pressure on myself, but also it's societal pressure because the man has to do a lot of the whatever. It has to do the brunt of the relationship, and so I want to be able to facilitate that and not be looked at as like a punk or like the new millennial word, the fuck boy. I don't want to be that.
Damn.
Yeah. So it's like, I don't know if I can do this now, but I long for a connection. That's what I want. So I don't know if necessarily dating, but I long for a connection.
Yeah, I think the whole thing about getting into a relationship, it sounds great. And you're like, yeah, I miss, X, Y, and Z. But then it's like, oh, remember what happened with that relationship? Like the Titanic, it sunk and like you drowned and it sucked. And like, you're just like, I don't want to fucking drown anymore. Like, I'm just going to keep on swimming with Dory. I think it was Dory. I didn't watch that show. But like, maybe it was Nemo. Who knows? I don't know. I just know it was one of those fish.
Yeah.
But, yeah, you're just like, okay, talking to someone hits you up and asks you questions, and you're just like, ugh, I don't want to reply. I just don't. Yeah. You have nothing to offer me. I know you don't. And he might. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just like, you're just like, the effort of putting into the conversation just doesn't seem worth it.
Yeah.
Because the outcome is just like way too temperamental. And that's how I know I'm probably not ready to date. Like, because I just don't. I don't want to give anybody that right now. I just don't. I don't have it to give to anybody. And you're like, I'm not going down with the Titanic, dude.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, just gotta keep swimming.
Like, just let go, Jack. Just let go.
Oh man, yeah. I mean that's pretty much it. But yeah, so we're gonna start doing that at the end of every podcast, and like write to us, see if tell us that you like it, or if you have any memes to give us, like that'd be great too, if you want. I mean, we have plenty. But if you want to be a part of the conversation, our email is bedlovebeyond@gmail.com, so you can hit us up on that as well. Say hi, say hello, give us any memes, or just some say what we think about the show. Yeah, give us some feedback. All right, so that is all of our topics. That is the end of the show. Thank you for listening and making it all the way to the end. It was a pretty long show, but thanks guys. You guys are awesome. We will catch you next time.
Peace.